Hi, I'm Tony. Welcome to Sew Lounge. Today we're talking darts. I'm going to show you how to sew a basic bust dart. If you haven't been following along with the video series, this is Butterick 4498, which is a vintage A-line dress from the 90s. If you want to get a current pattern that's very similar, that would be Butterick 6653. Before we get started, you need to make sure that the markings for the bust dart from the pattern have been transferred onto your fabric. If you're not sure how to do that, I made a video about transferring all the markings from your pattern to your fabric. So go watch it and then come back here. You're going to need some straight pins, and let's go in for a closer look, and I'm going to show you how to pin your dart together so that you're ready to start sewing. To get started, you want to unpin your pattern from the fabric, and then you can just put it off to the side. Then you're going to open up your fabric. So this is the right side of my fabric, and this is the wrong side, and this is where I've marked my dart lines. You want to match the two lines from each side to itself, so that the dart is to the inside, and you're going to stitch it so that it's going to be smooth and flat on the outside. So to accomplish this, you want to start at the small round circle that you would have transferred, the dot, and I like to stick a pin in there so I know where the end of it is. And then I move down and I stick a pin in the next dot hole, and I want to make sure that it matches up to the other side. So you're catching both dots on both sides, and that means that the lines are going to also be matched up because you're matching up those dots. So you can match the dot, as you can see, and then you put your pin through to hold it in place. Next, we're going to move down to the last one and put the hole through the dot. Go through to the other side, went through the hole there, or the dot there, and then we're going to pin. Okay, so it's nice and smooth, and this is the side we're going to sew on because we're going to sew from the top of the dart down to the bottom of the dart. Let's go to the other side, and we're going to repeat the process. So that's the bottom dot. We're going to move up to the middle dot, poke it through, come out the other side. There we go. Fold it back, fold the fabric, and then put the pin through. And then down to the last one, once again, pin it through the dart to the other side, to the other dot. And then we're going to smooth out the fabric and secure that pin. So now you've got both darts pinned in place, and we're ready to head over to the sewing machine. Make sure that your machine is turned on and it's set on a straight stitch. You don't need any kind of fancy foot or any special stitch to sew a dart, so that's the good news. I sew everything on 2.5, like we've talked about before, so that is what I'm putting my machine stitch length on. If you sew at 2 or 3 or whatever, feel free to use that same stitch length. When you are lining up your fabric, you want to have the bulk of the fabric going off to the left side of your machine, and we're going to line up the dart with the presser foot. Let's go in for a closer look. As I was saying, we want to line up this marked dart line with the line on the center of the presser foot. Let me go in for a little bit closer look so you can see that. Okay, so you can see the marked line here on the fabric, and you can see the center line of the presser foot. And you want to get that all lined up, and then lower your presser foot. And then I'm going to roll my needle in to start, and I'm going to take out this first pin. Let's go back out. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to sew a couple of stitches. That doesn't look like that's tight enough. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to sew a couple of stitches forward, and then I'm going to hit the reverse lever, and I'm going to back up, sew a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to keep sewing forward, staying on that line and removing each pin as I get to it. Let's take that one out. Okay, and to keep sewing. Now, as I'm getting towards the very bottom, I'll zoom in again, I want to sew, I don't want to sew over this pin, so I'm going to mark, take that pin out. I'm going to put a little mark here so I can see where that pin ends, and I'm going to keep sewing, but I'm still sewing at a diagonal, and I'm going to go off the fabric right where that mark is. So let's keep going. Okay, and now I'm off the fabric, so I'm going to raise my presser foot. I'm going to roll my needle back up, and we're going to zoom out for a second. There we go. So you're going to pull your threads, and you want them to be a little bit long because you're going to tie them in a knot. Cut them off. Sometimes you might need scissors. And then we're going to go in for a close look. So you can see how your dart is all sewn, and you've got it backstitched at the top, but then at the bottom down here, you want to finish the dart so it doesn't pop out while you're wearing it. So to do that, you're just going to take these threads and you're going to tie them in a little knot. And not a double knot or anything, it doesn't have to be big, just a basic knot. And then we're going to snip them off once I finish tying that knot. There we go. So just a basic knot. And then we're going to just snip off those threads. And that's how you sew a bust dart. So we're going to go to sew the other side, and then I'll meet you over at the iron. Once you've finished sewing your dart, then we need to press that dart into the right place. My fabric is cotton, so I have my iron set to cotton, and I also have the steam on high. Now, this is when you want to use a pressing ham. If you don't have a pressing ham, this is a very handy tool, which is great for pressing darts and other curves into fabric. Now, if you don't have one of these, and you don't want to spend the money to get one, you can just use a towel. This is just a small hand towel, and you can just kind of roll it so it's kind of looks similar. And then you can use that for pressing a dart, because you don't want to press it completely flat on your ironing board. You want to have a little bit of a curve to it, so it's better to use something that's slightly rounded. But I'm going to use the ham today. Get your fabric and your pattern piece, and we're going to press the bust dart down towards your waistline. So when you have darts in the bust, you want them to go down towards the waist. And if you have princess darts, or if you have a top and a bottom dart, you want the top dart to go to the waistline, and then you want the bottom dart to go towards the outside edge. So that's just kind of a rule for darts in your garments. You always want them to go towards the center of your body, but if they're a vertical dart, you want them to go to the outside. Just reduces bulk in the garment design. So we're going to take our pattern piece and we're going to lay the dart across the top of the ham. And my iron is ready. And I'm just going to very gently just press and apply some steam to get that dart to go over towards the waist. And this is just going to keep it in the right place so that once we're sewing, it's going to get caught in that side seam line where it's supposed to be, and it won't be going in the wrong direction. So you can see that's how it looks. And if we want to go back from the front, we can iron it as well. And you can see that there's just a nice line here from the front of the fabric, and then you can see where the dart ends. And my fabric's puckering, and it's not supposed to do that. Let me iron that out real quick. So sometimes the tip of your dart will pucker a little bit. you can usually fix that with a little bit of steam. And this is the dart that I worked on multiple times to make the video. So if you let it cool, that also helps the fabric set into place. And there we go. So repeat on the other side. So now that you've gotten your dart sewn in, you've taken a flat piece of fabric and put some curves in so it can fit to the curves of your figure. I'm going to just pin this up here so you can see how, which we're not quite ready to sew and finish yet, but you can see how the fabric now fits at the bust, so it's not just hanging completely loose. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to click like below and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a stitch. And if you've got questions and no one to answer them, head on over to Let's Talk Sewing for Beginners, hosted by Sew Lounge. It's an interactive Facebook group where you can ask all the questions you want, and I'll do my very best to get you some answers. I go live in the group every week, so check the events tab for the schedule. Until we meet again, happy sewing!